The name of the group is the Walking Reading Group, and it's Ania Bas, Lydia Ashman and Simone Mair.
The Walking Reading Group is a project about knowledge exchange and sharing, in which a group of people read a set of texts, meet at a venue and then walk for up to 2 hours discussing their texts.
We started in May 2013. It was a real need for us to come together to discuss texts and form maybe a way of discussing something that was relevant to us in a setup which wasn't a reading group setup. We felt that we needed to break away from that setup of one person talking and everyone listening, and we wanted to create an alternative format of people exchanging what they thought about texts and how we could learn from each other.
One of the fixed elements of the walks are 3 rules that we ask people to observe. So the first one is that you don't represent anyone or anything. The second one is that they say anything. They can be really spontaneous and really respond to their conversation partner so that hopefully they kind of make U-turns in their knowledge. And then the third one, which is really important, is about intimacy. So that comes from walking in a pair rather than talking in a group. The walks are normally about 2 hours, so 2 or 3 miles long, and we try and use our local knowledge to sort of pass by things or pass through things that make sense with those texts. So we did a walk that was focused on economic inequality, and we kind of weaved our way through the financial district of London and then passed through into Whitechapel to kind of think about those 2 contrasting areas.
Yeah, there is maybe this element to add this analogy between walking and reading. No? It's like the reader who explores the texts as a fixed place and opens it as a space, and whereas the walker in the city also makes it a space while exploring it.
So the title of this edition for Space is The Walking Reading Group on Commons. We chose the theme of the Commons partly based on personal motivation to explore this fairly undiscovered area for us. I think it's fair to say that it also feels really relevant at the moment for a number of reasons. Obviously, kind of globally, there's the refugee crisis, for example, ongoing debates about climate change and the environment that we live in. And the idea of urban commons is also, I feel, really relevant to London in terms of the kind of privatisation of the city.
I think it's important to acknowledge that people for years were coming together in order to create structures that were shared and were enabling them to live, have access to resources, have access to information, have access to housing or food, and that's been squeezed.
For this edition, we had an event in March where we invited anyone to come along during a sort of research period to contribute their ideas and their perspectives.
And one of the things which was reappearing on quite a lot of those comments was the understanding of the commons was quite narrow, was kind of looking at it from the main angle of commons understood as shared land and shared resources.
So we thought, the first meeting should give an overview of the commons as a resource, and then the commons as a process of commoning itself, and then the community around it.
The process of commoning that can take, again, different forms. People coming together to cook together and eat together, that's a process of commoning. Walking together, that's a process of commoning. Bringing guests and inviting them to respond to the text and the construct of the Walking Reading Group through provocation was, I think, yet another way for us to look into a way of inducing energy halfway through the walk and maybe adding another layer.
So for the first walk, we have the New Cross Commoners as our guests. For the second walk, we have Michael Smythe, who's representing Phytology, a project in Bethnal Green. For the third walk, we have Alex Colas, who's an academic from Birkbeck College in international relations. And for the fourth walk, we have Russell Miller, who's from a local organisation called the Tree Musketeers.
From the beginning, we included this element of the booklet as we found it very important to have like something like an anchor. It kind of works also as an archive.
We worked with Andrew Brash and Jonas Bertrand to design the booklet for this edition, and we worked really closely with them in terms of the theme, and they were really interested in kind of thinking about how they could represent the theme of the Commons through the design. Having done now 5 editions of the Walking Reading Group in London, I think it's changed our perspective of the city in terms of expanding our kind of networks, both kind of physical and social networks as well. And we've obviously met a lot of people who participated in the project and kind of feel a sense of ownership over it. Also kind of reinforced to all of us who love walking just how walkable the city is, and kind of interesting and important it is to sort of navigate through and use it as a way to process thoughts and kind of come to new understandings.
Something really interesting that happened recently to us after the walk. One of the people who joined us for a walk was talking about the experience and the walk as in the we, saying, "Oh yeah, we should walk there and we should do this." Yeah. And I think that sort of speaks of how people embrace this, and that's we sort of structure it and organize the structure, but it's people who make it, who make that experience, and it's shared and it's theirs.